Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 193, closing in on 200. I'm very much looking forward to that. We've got a lot of news to go over this week. Some things, not gonna like it. Other things, we're really gonna like, which is what we're gonna talk about in our discussion of what are certain, for lack of a better term, cliches or tropes or things that show up in movies a lot that doesn't matter if it's the first time we see them or the millionth time we see them. If they're done right, it's the thing that's going to sucker us in every time. We're going to talk about the movie tropes that we'll almost always like. I put almost always because, obviously, if they do it badly, we're not going to care. But
yeah.
put the caveat on, if they do it well, we almost always are fans of this. But, Josh, hopefully it's less rainy on your end than it is on my end. So if this episode crashes, y'all know why. But Josh, how you doing tonight?
I'm chilling, my dog. It's bright and sunny. It's been bright and sunny all day, all week actually. We're starting to get our first kind of peek at fall weather, so we're chilling.
And how's everything? How's everything going over there? You alive?
I'm alive. I'm alive. I haven't. Today's my first day off since Sunday. I think we did like 100+ hours this week, so I'm tired. But I also today got a ingrown toenail that has been festering for like 6 months, like actually removed. Because I have healthcare now through my company, the company I work for. So it's like, all right, I can take care of myself.
Exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah. It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty cool. The nail he took out turned out to be close to an inch long, so there's that. Take care of yourself, kids.
Well, besides watching the bottom of your feet, are you watching anything else good?
I mean, actually, honestly, I'd be impressed if I was watching the bottom of my feet. I managed to squeeze in episode 4 of Rings of Power. It has been my addiction. I've rewatched the other three episodes. I love Rings of Power so much, and I love the direction we're going. I love that I'm finally back into a show that that's fantasy and it's less about quote unquote politics and more about good and evil and stuff. I've seen the comments. I've seen them of being like,
it's hard not to.
But fantasy has also got the political intrigue. I mean, okay, yes, but is there really political intrigue when the big bad is just, I don't know, decimating whole parts of the country? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
He's just evil in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Not much to Sauron.
Part of the fun right now is outside of the characters that we are watching being incredibly interesting and fun to watch, and the action is, to me, fun to watch. It's that happy medium between Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. Yes, it's a little floaty, but it's not the worst.
It's not it's not hopping on barrels.
Yeah, it doesn't go full Hobbit. But yeah, great times. Love it. I'll be very part of the fun though is being okay, I know who you are. I know who's related to you 1,000 years from now. Okay, I know who you. That's fun. It's cool. It's a lot of fun.
On the flip side, the only thing I watched was American Underdog, that Kurt Warner movie with Zachary Levi.
Wow, okay.
I don't think that movie works if it's not Zachary Levi. He is just so darn likable. Also, him and Anna Paquin have phenomenal chemistry. They're really, really good together. Also, we've really come a long way in Christian movies. This one is watchable for sure because they don't sugarcoat things. I think it was super cool that the Warner family was very active with this movie from the get-go, and they're just like, yeah, we want you to tell the whole story, including the fact that Kurt Warner's wife had a previous marriage, and the kid, her oldest child, was dropped on his head when he was super, super young, and it's uncomfortable, but they're like, yeah, that's a part of our story, and he's a miracle, and everything else in our life is unheard of, so I think he's big important part of why Kurt got brought into that family, because the kid immediately latched on to him. It was good. It's a cliched sports movie, but Zachary Levi is just so insanely likable, but also like it's terrifying how much he looks like a young Kurt Warner. Uh,
Yeah.
but on the flip side, I finally started playing The Quarry. I'm not that far into it yet. It's just Until Dawn, except not janky motion animate like
Yeah.
facial animations. Like Heather and I enjoy Until Dawn, but there's times that she's just like, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this because like the facial capture or the motion
It's
capture isn't
it's very awkward
it's
times.
yeah, not quite there, especially with like Rami Malek's naturally creepy face doesn't help when it's going like just
Yeah.
slightly off enough. You're going, "Mm." This flows a lot more smoothly, and it feels very much just like that old school slasher. So I'm on board with it so far, but we'll see. I'm very curious to see Barbarian. I'm hearing some wild things about that. Like
Yeah.
no one's saying anything, which I think is great. But supposed to people are just like, yeah, if you don't know anything about this, just trust us and go out and see this. I'm going, okay, gentlemen, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention, type of thing. Like, what is in this house? Are we gonna have a don't breathe situation here?
Yes. I don't know. All I know is it's not a prank hand.
It's just a prank, bro.
It's not a prank hand. Oh
Oh
my god.
gosh.
You and I were briefly talking about Jacksepticeye before we came on, and his most recent videos where he replayed oh geez,
Until
we were
Dawn, and
just
he has the
talking.
same
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah. He's like, it's just a prank hand.
Love when he's
It's like,
watching stuff for the Quarry and just like the L word, lesbians. It's like Scott Pilgrim joke. Come on now,
Great
stupid Scott Pilgrim.
stuff. Great movie.
It's a movie. It's a movie. But we're not going to get down that road today. The road that we will go down, though, is talking about the Keanu, which is now bled back into the world of superhero movies, supposedly, as, 17 years after the original Constantine, we're now getting a new Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves reprising his role as John Constantine. And at least for me, the crowd goes mild. Like, don't get me wrong. This is one of those movies that, for some reason, I have seen way too much. And here's the reason why. I worked at a TV station for about a year-ish. And for some reason, whenever they had like those made-for-TV movies, 9 times out of 10, they're playing Constantine. And I have no idea why. So when I'm just sitting around the station, Constantine was almost always on in the background. So I've seen this movie way too much. Like Men in Black when I worked there. I've worked a lot of weird jobs. Boy, I'm conflicted because I like Keanu a lot. He's a cool dude. Do I like his Constantine movie? Not particularly. Do I think it's a good representation of the character? Not particularly.
No.
That being said, revisiting this 17 years later when the world of comic book movies is drastically different could be interesting. Maybe he falls in a vat of holy water and it turns him blonde and gives him an accent. I don't know.
This is Keanu. There's no way he's gonna have an accent.
He's gonna bring back the British accent from Dracula, and it's gonna be good this time. As someone that probably likes this movie a little bit more than me, Josh, Constantine is coming back.
Yeah, no, I'm about where you are. I've seen Constantine quite a few times. It is like I enjoy it. It's a good time. A good '90s fun, or early 2000s fun,
2005.
whatever. Yeah. It's fine. It's a thing that happens. Like you said though, like I was really kind of hoping. We don't know if this is connected to the current DC universe at all.
That's the question. Is it at all?
Yeah, because
this has canceled the other dark properties that they were doing. They were doing a Constantine show and Madame Xanadu, and both of those are scrapped now.
Correct. So it's kind of weird that this is what they're going with. Especially since I don't think there was any reference in the original that the original was connected to like some sort of DC universe at all. So
yeah.
It'll be interesting. I was kind of hoping if we were going to go back to John Constantine that it would be a he'd be he'd be the drunk uncle of Doctor Strange kind of thing going on, but for the DC universe, and I just don't think that that's where they're going to go with. Will I see this? Yeah, I'm still gonna
On the off
watch it.
chance that your boy Edrigan shows up,
Exactly, like dude, if Etrigan showed up,
voiced by Ron Perlman.
I don't hate that. Yeah, I don't hate that at all, actually. Okay, hold on. Hold on. You piqued my interest.
Yeah, he's not doing another Hellboy movie, but he'll do Edrigan.
No,
So,
yeah. That's all the fans' fault that didn't go well,
no,
obviously.
you're thinking of
No, I
the
know.
David
Yeah,
Harbour one.
David.
So, yeah, how this fits in a larger DC universe is gonna be a question mark for sure, if at all. This could be its own pocket universe. It'll be like multiverse. Everything is canon and nothing is canon. Well, like I said, the comic book landscape is different now than it was in 2005. So maybe there are more allusions to other things with the Justice League Dark. I don't know, if we're going with an older John Constantine, I would think by proxy we would need an older Zatanna. Maybe Monica Bellucci as Zatanna, just to hook up with Keanu Reeves. I would like this to lead to a Justice League Dark, but I don't think it will, just because anything Justice League Dark related other than the animated movies has been stuck in limbo forever now. But yeah, I didn't get the sense that the original one really leaned into any form of comic material. It was very much just a generic angels and demons and mysticism type movie, as opposed to drawing on some source material. I would like them to do more of that this time around. They're bringing back almost everyone from the original in terms of the creative team. Like, it's the same director. They're bringing back Keanu. Bring back Shia LaBeouf, dang it.
Make him like the actual like sidekick. That would be so much fun. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to remember. Was there the House of Mysteries? I don't think the House of Mysteries was in the movie. Bring the House of Mysteries in.
Air quotes, massive air quotes, that the House of Mysteries. I think I heard that one.
Yeah, like I said, loud. People, there's a lightning storm happening right now. So, yeah.
But yeah, regardless, you know what, it's got Keanu in it, so I there's no way I'm going to like hate it. I guess there was just a part of me that was really hoping that we were. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I was really hoping we were getting away from like the let's just do stuff to do stuff kind of vibe in DC. But maybe we're wrong. Maybe this is the angle we want to go. Who knows?
So I know, well, especially with the Flash, everyone's just like, well, just bring in Grant Gustin. I know there's a lot of people with this that when they talk about Constantine, they're just like, well, just get the CW guy. I think it was Matt Ryan. I'm looking it up right.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, what was the guy's name? I'm blanking.
I'm good though. Like I liked him,
Matt
but
Ryan.
like
I thought he was pretty good for a CW budget. Also looks a lot more of the part and acts a lot more of the part.
Yes.
But this, frankly, guys, the only reason this is getting made is because it's Keanu. If it wasn't Keanu Reeves in the original Constantine, I don't think this is happening. This is just an odd choice for sure. Just given the state of DC, everything right now, they're just like, that movie that was kind of popular 17 years ago, let's just bring that back.
Well, especially after canning Batgirl and kind of a lot of the other movies kind of being in question, like to just all of a sudden go, like, as much as I do enjoy Constantine, to just kind of pull a movie from the early 2000s and go, it was kind of popular, let's do it anyway. It feels weird. It feels very weird.
So we can't say that this is really surprising, but it's a little disheartening nonetheless. And that is that the upcoming Patty Jenkins directed Rogue Squadron movie has now been pulled from the upcoming Disney release calendar, to which my brain immediately goes, so that movie's definitely not happening anymore. I mean, it could still happen, but I'm just going to go with the assumption that this movie's canceled, because if it's not on the release schedule anymore, we had heard that they had some creative differences. This is disappointing because it sounded like a really interesting concept. They really hyped it up during that Investors Day of just like Patty Jenkins on the tarmac, talking about how her dad was a pilot. She grew up around pilots. She's super excited to do this story. But, and here's, I'm too lazy to pull out the tinfoil hat.
The big
That,
old butt.
that announcement came out before 1984, Wonder Woman 1984. And Lucasfilm has this horrible track record of big, sexy names for directors that would look good on paper directing a Star Wars movie, but are currently doing something else in the meantime. And then when that thing doesn't go well, they quietly dismiss that director.
Yes.
Oh,
is,
don't believe me? Colin
yeah.
Trevorrow was supposed to do Star Wars Episode 9, Duel of the Fates, and then this movie called Book of Henry came along, and they went, nah, we're good. Or Josh Trank did Fan Four Stick right before he was announced to be directing the Boba Fett project, which ended up being a TV show instead. He got quietly fired. They aren't going to come out and publicly say this, but until we get some further proof and like actually start putting in development on this, I'm not confident anymore that Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is happening anymore either after Love and Thunder. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, well, you had one bad day at the office. The rest of your movies are great, but you had this one movie. Goodbye. We're expecting perfection, because Lucasfilm has this really weird track record lately of until you're actually sitting down in the theater to watch it, it is not promised that you're actually going to see the Star Wars project that's been announced. Like,
yeah,
it's, and even then, like, he's just halfway through watching something in theaters, and they're just like, "Oh, sorry, we ran out of film.
Pulled.
The rest of it's on Disney Plus. You got to pay $30 for it."
God, I was kind of excited for it because didn't they pitch this originally like a Top Gun, but in the Star Wars movie? So
Too bad Top Gun Maverick already did it.
Yeah, but like also that would be so much fun. I would love that a lot, and it is kind of sad to hear that it's or non-officially canceled, under the table canceled,
indefinitely delayed.
Yeah, but I think this does speak to the larger issue of Lucasfilm / Kathleen Kennedy just kind of taking one bad day at the office and being like, all right, cool, bye, no more. It's a good thing she's more. It's really unfortunate actually that she's not in charge of Bob Chapek, because one bad day at the office and he would have been gone.
Yeah, well, I don't think she would have put him in charge anyway. She would have fired him after 2 weeks because she got indecisive about something. And who knows? For all we know, it could be on the other side. If Patty Jenkins was asking for too much creative control, because honestly, I don't know where she's currently at either. Because right before Wonder Woman 1984, they're like, we're going to do a TV show about Themyscira. I'm going to be on board for Wonder Woman 3. We've heard nothing about either of those. As far as we know, the only upcoming anything Wonder Woman is supposedly some appearance in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. But that makes sense because, the gods, and she is one by proxy. For who knows, maybe it's a mutual thing of Patty Jenkins couldn't come to terms with whatever Lucasfilm wanted. Maybe Lucasfilm just got some beat on some stuff. But again, this is just a continued mess in the mess that is Lucasfilm. Basically, since day one, the only movie that's gone off without a hitch, I feel like, is The Force Awakens, and then everything else has had some form of issue. Rogue One had all those massive reshoots. Then Solo exists, Last Jedi, and all the issues that had. Then Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, Solo's not
bad, but you can't deny firing your director with 2 weeks left to go in filming, and supposedly the cast and crew applauded them getting fired. Like,
that's sketch.
Yeah,
super sketch. Cause I think there's a third vein to this though. There is an entirely relevant possibility that with the release and success of Top Gun Maverick and it being this close to the possibility of Rogue Squadron, Disney looked at Rogue Squadron and was like, you know what? someone kind of beat us to the punch in a way. If Top Gun Maverick hadn't had done as well as it had, I think maybe this might still be within the realm of possibility as far as happening. But since they were pitching Rogue Squadron as like Star Wars version of Top Gun, I can see them being like, all right, Top Gun came back and kind of made a really big splash. It would look kind of weird, and the movie would have a lot kind of going against it if we tried to do this anyway, despite Maverick.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Maverick thing because it's the top grossing movie of 2022. I forgot what year we're in temporarily. You would think someone would want to capitalize on the success of that, be like, all right, here's another dogfight movie, to which someone actually is. There is, I don't know if you've seen those trailers for the movie coming out called Devotion, which stars Glenn Powell as, another wingman in another unnamed war. I'm just going,
what in the world?
this is a little on the nose here, guys. But I would think if you're Lucasfilm, you'd want to capitalize on this. You'd be like, oh, flying movies are back in style. Let's bring this back. But again, it's just really weird decisions on Lucasfilm's part, to the point of just like, nothing's really guaranteed anymore, and it's annoying more than anything.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, I guess in some capacity, nothing ever is quote unquote guaranteed. But like we've talked a lot in past weeks about how like Warner Brothers doesn't seem to have their crap together at all. Whereas,
what else is new? I
mean, yes, but like, it's weird how we don't have the same criticism for Lucasfilm when it comes to this.
I do.
Sorry, let me as vocal as like, oh man, well, what are they doing over there? Like, but that's always like Warner Brothers. But I guess maybe that's just like the current hog that we're all poking.
Next up, we're switching over to some Marvel news, and it's surprising, but at the same time, not. And that is that Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, now has its writer, and it's the guy that's writing, Kang's big introduction to the MCU, the writer of Antman and Wasp Quantumania, Jeff Loveness. Which, first of all, Jeff Loveness. That is one of the greatest names of all time. And I'm just going to leave it there because we're going to take that high road. This is not surprising in the slightest. Your movie, called The Kang Dynasty, is going to be written by the guy that has Kang as the main villain in a Marvel movie. Cool. I know some people be like, well, he was first introduced in Loki, but I'm like, yes, for one ridiculously long monologue scene, but in terms of like actually seeing him in action, the first time will be Antman and the Wasp Quantumania. And even then, that's He Who Remains, and that's a very different version of Kang than what we'll see going forward. This makes a lot of sense to me, of start laying the groundwork in Antman and the Wasp Quantumania, and then move on to bigger and better things. Marvel has done this a lot in the past. Look at, I believe the writers' names were Marcus and McFeely, the guys that wrote Winter Soldier and Civil War before they ended up writing Infinity War and Endgame. Like, those guys wrote with the Russo brothers, who directed those movies before moving on to bigger and better things. This makes a lot of sense to me that this guy did this, but also, if I remember correctly, he's like a TV writer, and Marvel he is a TV writer because you know what he's written for? Rick and Morty. Everyone's just going, greatest Marvel movie of all time incoming right now. And people are making jokes about it. But I firmly believe that this is why Kevin Feige did this. Rick and Morty deals a lot with multiverse shenanigans.
They do.
And for the most part, logically make it make sense, which is a hard concept to do. So if you have a dude that can write multiverse well already, you keep him on board and give him the big task ahead that is the next Avengers movie. Josh, Kang Dynasty with the greatest name of all time, Jeff Loveness.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it makes sense because like he wrote Ant-Man the Wasp Quantumania. It's like, isn't it the same director coming back for Kang Dynasty as well?
No, remember it's Kang Dynasty is Destin Daniel Cretton from Shang-Chi.
Yes, of course.
So Shang-Chi is gonna punch so hard it's gonna break Kang in the multiverse. And recast Iron Fist.
I am very, very interested to see because like I really did. It was a little bit overblown, but I love that monologue scene in Loki. I am very curious, having seen Jonathan Majors on Lovecraft Country, what this man is going to be capable of, because he's also doing what, Creed 3, and
Yep, and he's going to ruin Michael B. Jordan's day.
like he's going to ruin his like year.
You've seen those set pictures, right?
Yeah, that man is. Oh boy, that is a big jacked boy. I'm very curious as to who the Conqueror will be, like what he will look like, what he will do. Because yes, like I think it's very important to distinguish the difference between like He Who Remains in Loki and the Kang that it is gonna, the force that is Kang that will be coming to Quantumania and Kang Dynasty. So to me, it makes sense, especially with the Rick and Morty tie-in. I don't know how much you watch, but like they do a very good job of balancing multiverse without doing time travel, which is like very key, because they're like they make a point to do that.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, in Endgame, don't they reference Rick and Morty when talking about either time travel or the multiverse or whatever else? So I'm just like, see y'all, Kevin Feige just laying the groundwork even back then with an obscure Rick and Morty reference. He's that big brained. He just knew.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to go there, but it's kind of it's been my thought process for a little bit of, I shouldn't feel this way, but Kang Dynasty to me kind of feels like the Age of Ultron of like, cool.
I hope it isn't. Oh my gosh.
Let me finish. It feels like the Age of Ultron in that of like, yeah, cool. Move you, Secret Wars. Like
okay.
The Simpsons meme with the sheep, just like, move you, Secret Wars. Like everyone's kind of more just like, cool, Kang Dynasty, but Secret Wars. Like, yeah, it's all leading up to that. Infinity War had to happen for Endgame. I get that. And some people think Infinity War is better than Endgame. Those people are what I call wrong, but everyone's entitled to their opinion. Kang Dynasty, I'm sure will be great.
Endgame isn't as good without Endgame, though, so there's that.
What?
Endgame is... No, wait, hold on. Switch that. Yeah, I got this.
Endgame isn't as good without Endgame.
I mean, well, technically. Oh, I mean, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I want to get excited for Kang Dynasty. I think it'd be cool. I really liked what Destin Daniel Cretton did with Shang-Chi. So it should be exciting, but at the same time, like, even when we took sidetracks with Age of Ultron, we could tell the final roadmap for Infinity War and Endgame. It was all leading to this one big battle with the stones and everything else, whereas we're going to keep harping on it. I have no idea what the direction for Marvel is right now, and I don't know if Marvel does. They're saying it publicly of like, oh yeah, y'all can't pick up on the roadmap? Not when you shredded the roadmap a few miles back and then tossed it off to the side of the road and you're just kind of freeballing it from here. Like, I don't think they actually know where they're going. They're just saying it. Like,
yeah,
they're just like, well, in the comics, you've got a whole bunch of different disconnected storylines that all come together at the end of it. I'm like, movies are not comics, though. We've said this before. I don't know. Like, I think this guy could be good, but at the same time, I want to be excited for Kang Dynasty. It's just hard right now because Marvel right now is the definition of a team that squeaks by into the playoffs when they don't deserve it. Whereas in years past, they were the World Series favorite type.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially after Phase 4. Because it's a thing that's happened. There's been good moments and bad moments. I mean, as much as I was not a big fan of some of the really clunkiness of Multiverse of Madness, seeing a actual horror version of Scarlet Witch was fantastic, and I'll never forget that. I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. I think once we kick it off with Wakanda Forever and like kind of do this Antman and the Wasp Quantumania, I think we'll have a better idea of where we're going. I say I think in the most hopeful way possible.
So, next up for news is, let's be honest, just the most Sony thing in the world right now. And that is that Sony's developing a new Karate Kid movie, the first theatrically released Karate Kid movie since 2010's Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie, which Josh and I still defend is not nearly as bad as y'all make it out to be. But here's the thing, though. It's not connected to Cobra Kai or the people making Cobra Kai whatsoever. It's its own separate thing, to which I'm not just saying this as a Cobra Kai fan, but I'm saying this personally as a Cobra Kai fan. This is going to blow up in Sony's face big time. I think Sony's banking on this whole, oh man, people probably really miss Karate Kid nowadays because that's a nostalgic property. What if we bring that back? People are probably clamoring for it and going, in order to miss something, it has to be away from us. But we've had consistent Karate Kid content for the past 5 to 6 years. It would be different if Cobra Kai was either one, only like a season or two, or two, just out and out bad. But by and large, it gets pretty well received reviews from critics and audiences alike, and it's been going strong for 5 seasons, with the 6th one more than likely on the way. I don't get this decision at all, especially if this is going to somehow be connected to the original Karate Kid, because
Yeah,
if
that's
any of the characters are in this whatsoever, like Daniel or Johnny, obviously can't use Miyagi, it more or less immediately makes Cobra Kai not canon, which I'm going, yeah, you'd have a lot of fans pissed off at you about that. There's already enough fans that are pissed about the Jaden version, which is not, again, as bad as you make it out to be. So either you do that, you do a completely separate thing, which you could do. But again, in typical Sony fashion, the easiest answer is right in front of their face. They're just ignoring it. What you do is, you do your 6 seasons of Cobra Kai next year, whenever else, and then you do a Cobra Kai movie in 2024 with the same people involved. It's not that hard. You have already a huge fan base built in, either with your Karate Kid fan base or with your newer generation with your Cobra Kai fan base. Just have them meet in the middle. Just be like, here, guys, new Karate Kid movie. If you liked Cobra Kai, it's just a continuation of that. If you never saw Cobra Kai, but you like the original Karate Kid, this is what they've been up to. We'll meet you halfway that you don't have to watch the show. It's just an easy answer. I don't understand Sony's decision here, but then again, that's Sony in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting too because like the story of the original Karate Kid has not necessarily aged well. People have grown up and rewatched it and been like, Daniel's kind of a jerk and kind of almost deserves every beating he gets. That's crazy. And that's just not. So what, you got to do something completely new but do the same story? Like, that doesn't, like, Sony, do you think we're morons? Like, especially since we memed you into re-releasing a terrible movie. Like, get out of here. Like, don't pretend that you're smarter than us.
So I say because there's something that I've known for a little bit because his name was attached on a couple seasons of Cobra Kai. I don't think it was on season 5 though. A certain name, just here's my theory, a certain name might be involved with this decision. The man that actually owns Karate Kid, Will Smith.
No way.
So the Will Smith and his family own the rights to Karate Kid. That's how they were able to make the Jaden Smith one. But for the first at least 4 seasons of Cobra Kai, Will Smith is listed as executive producer, even though he had nothing to do with the show. The family, as far as I know, they still own the rights to Karate Kid. And all the people making Cobra Kai had to go through the Smith family and more or less get everything approved and whatnot to like make the show happen. So is this Will Smith and company? I'm not saying they're bringing back Jaden, but maybe wanting to revisit this and go, all right, Cobra Kai, get your time in the sun. You get one more season. Good luck with your Sekai Tekkei tournament that you're probably going to do in season 6. We're doing our own thing again because Will really needs the help right now. Like, I don't want to go there, but as far as I know, Will Smith is still attached to this franchise in some capacity. So is this a move on his part? Is this a move on Sony's part?
Yeah,
It's also just
that's
weird that
so
this kind of
weird.
gets announced out of nowhere, less than 2 weeks after season 5 of Cobra Kai comes out. So I'm just like, well, that kind of takes the wind out of this season's sales, which, as far as I know, was still doing well. And they haven't even officially announced the season 6 yet. I know some people are rolling with, well, in season 6, this could happen, this could happen. Slow your roll, people. Season 6, they would like to do season 6. It has not been greenlit. Trust us when we say, just because we would like a new season to happen for a show, doesn't mean it will actually happen. Looking at you, NBC, and Go On, I still have not forgiven you for that. And everyone's going, the heck is Go On? I'm still bitter about that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. That's news to me that he owns the franchise.
Uh-huh.
But like, if Jaden had still been around in the acting scene, I honestly would have loved to see a sequel to that one. I'd love to see what that all that's up to. But yeah, guess we'll find out when more stuff comes out.
Well, Karate Kid is not the weirdest news of the day, as we're going to talk about today, as The Strangers, that one slasher movie from, what was it, 2008, 2009? The Strangers is getting not only a new movie, but a trilogy of new movies in a reboot series for The Strangers. Okay. Odd, but I understand this because you can make The Strangers for very, very cheap. Horror you can make for cheap just in general, but The Strangers, more often than not, takes place in one location, including the strangers themselves, typically has a cast of like 6 or 7. Like, the Strangers movies do not have high kill counts or a lot of people in them. But yet have enough of a recognizable IP, I think, that you can make some money out of this. I don't know if these are going to be theatrical or if they're going to be streaming. I'm not sure. I can look that up
Yeah.
later. But I think, I don't know. I think this is an odd choice. That being said, we just saw Orphan Force Kill, a franchise that we thought we didn't need more of, and they brought it back and did even nuttier stuff this time around. So maybe you can do that with The Strangers. Clearly, if it's a reboot, we're going to have new strangers in general. I don't want this to be a full origin story, though, of like, this is what the 3 of them looked like without their masks before. This is why they're crazy now, because they were left home alone, and now they're
Yeah.
always asking for Tabitha. Like, I don't need to know the ins and out of The Strangers. That being said, I'll watch all of these, because that first Strangers, Pray at Night, was a movie that exists. But
It
that
was
first one,
fine. What? Oh, hold on. It's great. That's a good
it's not
time.
bad, but it's also not great.
Okay, fine.
But The Strangers, the
Yes,
first
it's
one,
Strangers, fantastic. And I think while saying, hey, you can make this movie for very cheap, it is in one location. It has maybe a cast of 6 to 7, depending on the size of the family. Uh, that can feel like a negative, but to me, The Strangers is easily one of the best slasher films of the last 2 decades. It is fantastic. It's creepy. It's unsettling. I love that there's a lot of jump scares that aren't. They don't do the like jump scare noise for you. They're just people in the background that you suddenly notice, which is fantastic.
oh, that
Um,
scene where the dude is just standing in the background when Liv Tyler's in the living room.
oh, still gets me. And I know it's coming every single time, which is hilarious. But I love to see them do a 3 films reboot series. I'm okay with that. I agree. I don't want origin. I want it more as like a serial killer family or a group of people that are terrorizing a town, and it's the 3 films are, like the towns react kind of like a lot like what they're doing with the modern Halloween films. I'm okay with that, and I feel like The Strangers would fit well into that vein, and you can make it easily creepy, and there's a lot less of the supernatural vibe to it, and hopefully no evil dies tonight.
They don't say evil does not near as much as people make it out to be, but yeah,
I
it is
agree.
overplayed. What I think could be an interesting concept is each three of these movies is focusing on one of the three members. So
Hmm.
maybe you don't get all three of them in the same movie. Again, this could be a stupid idea, but three separate movies, three separate stories of like maybe the baghead dad is off in this place and the quote unquote the daughter characters over in this place. It's three standalone movies they could play back to back to back, a la the Fear Street trilogy, something like that, like interconnected, but not necessarily. I think the only difficulty of that would just be might get a little repetitive, and I think it's scary when they're together. So maybe not. Maybe scrap this idea, just kind of spitballing. But
Yeah.
the Strangers as a concept, I think, really, really works. It's just your stereotypical home invasion, but it's done so effectively that it's creepy. I like that there's not a lot of music in that first one. Like, it just lets it marinate. It just lets the creaking and the ambient noise be what actually scares you. So, okay, I'm down for
Sure.
more of these. It's not a franchise that it's like high on my priority list of, oh yeah, I want more of this. That being said, I won't complain. We'll get more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I've always wanted more of this series, but I mean, Prey at Night is. You're right. It's fine. It was a nice second installation. Um, but I would really love to see like an overarching story with it, terrorizing a family. What if? Oh, okay, spitballing. Since we're spitballing here, what if they go after a family? So let's say we stay with the strangers, right? And this is actually turning into Halloween now that I'm thinking about it.
Don't care. Do it.
Yeah, so let's say like it's the strangers, right? And they go after a family, and something happens in the first film to make the family be able to get away from them. And so the next two films are the strangers chasing them across the country, which would
And
be
in the third one, they bring back Liv Tyler, who is still
yes,
technically alive at the end of the first
yes,
Strangers movie. She
yes.
just
I
scares the
would be
crap out of
down.
a Mormon.
Yes, she does. It would be fun though. I can see a lot of like fun horror stuff happening in these three films.
As per usual, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it is t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, magnets, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media logo on it. That's your one-stop shop for it. And as always, help us get to 700 subscribers. We're getting real close. Help us get to 700 subscribers so we can talk about Darth Jar Jar before the end of the year. And, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it. Now,
It's really funny to hear you like say all that and like knowing that you desperately do not want to talk about
I'm coming
Darth
around
Jar.
to it. But my issue more is you just know I can't just half effort anything.
No,
And
you can't.
I will go deep down the rabbit hole like the It's Always Sunny gif. So
Yes.
I won't like it, but we'll talk about things that we do like. Movie tropes that we will always like/love if they're done properly. That's the big caveat here of anything could be great if it's done properly, but there's certain like story elements or quote unquote cliches that if they show up in a movie, it'll be like, that touches me in the right place. That's a special feeling here. I like when movies do this. So I capped my list at 10, just on the nose. Josh, how many you got?
Yeah, I got captured at 10 as well. I think it just works better just to get a good even number.
Yeah. So I kind of, they are kind of split within sections, but even then, not so much. I've got like some that are specific character archetypes, specific moments that happen within movies, but also, lastly, just stuff that movies do frequently that I enjoy. How do we want to proceed with this, Josh?
Just go back and forth like we always do, my dude.
Okay.
One of my favorites. I got this. I'll start it.
It's not like we've been doing 192 of these.
We know what we're doing. What are you talking about? Let's start with one of mine. I particularly, and I probably need to have a conversation with myself about this. The whole like
human animal hybrid characters.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. No. Man, we almost went one episode without talking about how Josh is a furry.
All goes back to Star Fox.
Yes. Anyway, should not have made that noise with Starbucks in this context. All right. So anyway, we're going to talk
Ah,
about one of my
Slippy.
favorite rom-coms, which is like the whole enemies to lovers kind of thing. I love.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I like I said, it's maybe something I need to talk to myself about. But like, I love it when people hate each other and then realize that like, oh, actually, we really care about each other. That's crazy.
Okay. Well, since we're making stuff up as we go along, Josh, we'll also do, as we're saying these, give some examples of movies that do the specific thing that we're
jeez.
talking about.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
So, like,
I wasn't prepared.
I'm assuming you're talking about The Proposal.
You know what? Yes. I mean, yeah. Actually, yeah. Here, when you're editing the episode, just strike all of this, right, and make it sound like we're super smart. Yeah. So, enemies to lovers, like in The Proposal. Yes, that. Yeah. That's exactly it. Although that is that's a great movie.
Because Betty
Sandra
White.
Bullock is fantastic. All of the bits with Betty White are fantastic. Before Ryan was allowed to be as weird as he always is on screen, he was still kind of like trying to do that rom-com
The
thing,
Van
and
Wilder thing.
yeah, which is fine. Stretch your legs, do your thing. But the enemies to lovers thing is just, I don't know what about it is, but it hits me where I live, and I just love it.
So, one of my first like character types could fit in rom-coms, but more often than not, they're just kind of in every movie. I love a good sarcastic sidekick / best friend type. Like, I don't need,
Yes.
not specifically like the black best friend or the gay best friend. Like, those I think get a little cliche, but I'm talking like Riley in National Treasure, or the sidekick in Sahara that I wish I could remember his name, but like the guy that gets like maybe one, if they're lucky, two special moments per movie, and that's about it. The guy that just frankly does not want to be there. I will never get sick of that character. More often than not, they're the ones that get all the good lines. I forget who it was, but there's some actor that I remember seeing in an interview that was like perennially the sidekick character. And he's always just like, yeah, I love playing that because the good guy, they're just the way that they are, whereas a sidekick, and you can have more room to have fun with it. Like, the sidekicks, more often than not, are more memorable and have more quotable lines than the main hero itself. Let's be honest, Robin is not the best character in Men in Tights. It's clearly Blinken. Blinken has the most fun in that movie. It's always the case. I love the smart Alex sidekick. They're just my favorite. So long as they don't tiptoe into cliche territory.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I love a good sarcastic, schwarmy
I wonder why.
sidekick. Yeah, it's like I am the sarcastic
We both
sidekick.
have
Yeah,
sidekick.
we are each other's sidekick. All right, but that means that there's that. Okay, no, that makes Heather the hero. Yeah,
That
she's
makes
always
sense. That makes sense.
That tracks.
Yeah.
I'll lean into one of my favorite character descriptions. I love myself a good dumb muscle. Like
I wonder why.
Like Drax in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Like he's
thank you for clarifying.
clearly. Yeah, I know. Thank you. He's clearly just there because he is the muscle. He's the barbarian of the group if we're going with D&D rules. There's not much intelligence, just there for.
And the funny thing is, he's a barbarian played by a guy named Dave.
I hate you.
Dave the Barbarian for all of our old school.
Someone bring that show back.
And the greatest intro ever.
It's so crazy, like that show had like, it does not have a long runtime. It got canceled super quick, but like I have a vivid memory of getting like an inflatable sword from like Burger King with that from that show that had like the face on the hilt and everything. I was like, this is whatever. Anyway, dumb muscle. Oh man, just the big strong guys who are super dumb, but like that's part of the charm at the same time.
This coming from the man that used to be a professional wrestler.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He doesn't remember it anymore anyway.
I don't remember a single thing for the past 20 years.
That's why he remembers Dave the Barbarian.
Yeah, it's uncomfortably close to the truth.
Yeah. So I don't know if it'll
got?
be on Josh's list, but I'm sure he's in the same agreement with me on this one of I'm always a sucker for the underdog athlete character or underdog athlete movie. Like, even a half-baked, not that quite good Rocky movie, I will still enjoy and cheer just because it's... Rocky movies are the hallmark movies for dudes of, like... They're cliche and predictable, and they have to have a happy ending at the end, even if someone dies in half the movies. But someone does die in like half the Rocky movies.
Yeah, it's a motivator, dog. Yeah, it's a storytelling trope.
We've talked about this in our best fight movies. Rocky, Never Back Down, Here Comes the Boom, which is still very underrated. Southpaw, Warrior.
Yeah. It's okay. So like,
I just like a good underdog fight movie.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a little unfair to be like, oh yeah, their only motivator was the death of a loved one. Like, oh, what's wrong with that? They didn't decide to change their life until somebody died. Well,
I mean, it's not like it happened in Rocky 3, Rocky 4, Rocky Balboa.
And that certainly doesn't happen in real life ever. So no, yeah. I'm with you though. I love a good underdog athlete. That's a lot of fun. I think I can.
It's not even so much fight. It could also be Hoosiers. I'm assuming. I've never seen Hoosiers. I feel like less and less of our generation has seen Hoosiers unless you're actually from Indiana or like
and that
Hoosiers,
is a crime.
Rudy, or Remember the Titans.
Dude, okay. So if you guys have not seen Hoosiers, you need to. Seriously. Fantastic film. Hold on, brain is catching up. All right, cool, you're here. Kind of pile in on this in the vein of a underdog kind of athlete. I love me a good reluctant hero, someone who's like you can tell is kind of capable, but really just like that's not what I wanted to do today. I wanted to go to the store, get an ice cream cone and a book, and sit in this chair and chill. But no, now I have to save the universe. Ugh, hate doing that. It's just, I love a good reluctant hero. I'm really learning a lot about myself when we do these podcasts, because that's definitely oh man, I don't want to go to work at all. And I go anyway.
See, I also have reluctant hero that finally accepts the call, but it's in a different sense than you. You're kind of coming at it from the sense of, oh, I don't want to get out of bed today or just do the work. I'm coming at it from the perspective of, I love a character like Aragorn, son of Arathorn. The people that are the most qualified to do the job are the ones that want to do it the least because they feel the most unworthy. Like an Aragorn. Like a Dick Grayson becoming Batman. Some of my examples will be non-movie related. It'll make sense later. But I should have liked Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. I should have, because he's that type of character of like, doesn't want the throne, probably deserves the throne. But then again, there's a lot of characters that by the end of it, I should have liked for Game of Thrones, but didn't. I just really like that stereotype of the character that everyone wants in a specific position is the one person that thinks that they're not worthy of it. And then once they realize that calling, that's such a powerful moment going, yes, you finally get it. Like, I love seeing the screenshots of the first time we meet Aragorn when he's just hiding with his hood up, just sitting at a bar, versus the last time we see Aragorn and he's like bright, colorful crown, like nice clean clothes as he's now the king of all of Middle Earth. And you're just like, that is a story arc. And I love those type of story arcs of not rags to riches, but more or less of like destiny is a powerful thing if you use it correctly in storytelling.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Which is, dude, you said Destiny, and I just keep thinking of the God of War story trailer. Oh my goodness, let's go! That trailer got me so hyped. I've watched it like 3 times today, and I'm just like, I
Now with
can't wait. Right?
25% more actually calling him Atreus.
Yes, absolutely. Be exciting. I want to knock out some stuff that just kind of happens in movies. Because gosh, there's some stuff that just happens that's just great. I love a good old fashioned Wild West style showdown where it's like the pan, and then like across the other side of the street, and they're like, there's got like a tumbleweed going across. Even if it's not in like the West or anything, I love a good Wild West showdown. I think they're absolutely ridiculous, but incredibly serious at the same time, which is just it's so fantastic. Anything from like oh geez, Fistful of Dollars to I think like Dragon Ball,
Back to the
Dragon Ball,
Future
whatever.
3.
Yeah, like everybody does a Wild West showdown, and they're just. I think nowadays, at least, they're played off for laughs because it is kind of like a trope that's like, there's no way people don't do this in real life. But gosh, I love them. It's just a great time.
It's another one of these. If done correctly, this is like the only one of my
Yes.
notes that, if done correctly, I'm a sucker for a good ticking clock moment in movies.
It was like from the eyes to the clock, from
It's
the
not so
eyes
much
to
like
the
cut
clock.
the red wire. It's just like either get out of the building before the bomb explodes, or do this thing before this time runs out. If done correctly, great. But there's a lot of times it's just like, yeah. But like Mission Impossible almost always has a ticking clock. Those are always great if you do it correctly. Get out of the house before you and everyone else blows up. It's an easy way to build suspense. You just do it right. Yeah, Mission Impossible is always my go-to just because it always feels like there's a countdown on that. 24. Yeah. I'm assuming they had a countdown. I never watched 24, but I'm assuming they had a countdown. Probably.
You've never seen 24, dog. I've got you. Okay, so every season is 24 episodes because every season is one day in the life of Jack Bauer, and every episode is an hour / 45 minutes with commercials.
So what's the episode where he gets stuck in traffic?
So that's actually one of the really interesting things that people always comment on the show is like, so when does he go to the bathroom if this is literally every single hour of his day? And we never see him go to the bathroom. So it's one of the, anyway, I don't know why I know so much about 24, but here we are. Oh, geez. So you brought up like a ticking bomb, and we talked about 24, which are both good examples of when heroes walk away from explosions. And there's just nothing cooler than when somebody causes an explosion and it's just walking away and like this cool, like, so, yeah, I did that.
What is going through my brain right now.
Yeah. Cool guys don't look at explosions.
And my man, J.J. Abrams on the keyboard.
I love it. No, yeah, but I love a good like person walking away from an explosion.
You mean like X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Cool. I just like explosions, honestly. If we're really being, we're being real here, because like those are always like the most pretty of the explosions. Is like they're walking away from it, so they make it super bright to just expose the silhouettes and all that. But yeah, it's just. Yeah, I love a good hero walking. Cool guy, don't look at explosions.
My favorite walking away from an explosion in a movie has to be Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg in The Other Guys. When they go to investigate like the laundromat or something that's a drug front, they go and it blows up and they both go, I can't hear. What? I can't hear you. You know how in movies they walk away from explosions? I don't think that was realistic. You know how they blew up the Death Star and no one flinched? I don't think that was realistic. You shut your mouth. Star Wars is factually accurate.
That is a great like point though. Like those.
No one has hearing loss.
No one has hearing. Well, okay, that Hawkeye? It wouldn't be hearing because there's no sound in space. Like that's not how space works. But then again, we're talking about fictional space, so I won't dabble too much into that. I think, okay, can I just tell you like one of my favorite horror movie tropes that is like it's always a joke at this point, but like at the same time, like anytime you see a movie and they're about to have sex, everybody in the room goes, "Ah, they're about to die! All right, where is he? Where's the murderer?" It's not even like it's not like in the late '90s or early 2000s when you were a teenager. You're like, "All right, a sex scene in a movie. This is cool." Oh man, the bad guy ruined it. No, now it's
Now
like,
it's just like, all right, where is he?
how are we gonna kill him?
They make fun of it in Cabin in the Woods. It's just like, all
Yes.
right, now it's the time for the rednecks.
Or Jason X when the girl when the infamous hologram room, she's like, "Hey Jason, we're gonna go have unprotected sex. Oh, what are you gonna do about it?" Like, oh, dude,
Get them
that's so
against the
great.
trees. They just ow, ow.
Ow, ow! It was so great,
So
fantastic. I just love that horror movies do that.
Josh brings up walking away from explosions. I can segue that perfectly into my going out in a blaze of glory / the noble final stand.
Nice.
Whenever a character that's almost always like the strong but silent type goes, "No, I hold them off. Go." Whether it's what's his face from The Mummy or my favorite heck yeah moment. And Josh will know exactly where I'm going with this. Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. When Peter looks like he's about to die, and the Centaur and the Rhino just look at each other and just charge into battle. And the Centaur breaks out the two big swords, just starts mowing basically everyone down. And he puts the two swords in the Minotaur's back, pulls out this big, huge sword. You're like, he gonna do it, he gonna do it. And then he gets impaled by the Wicked Witch and he gets frozen. But he survives, he's okay. So it's the thought that counts. But either going out in a blaze of glory or a noble last stand, because more often than not they're kind of linked together. Like Bruce Willis at the end of Armageddon, we won, Gracie, and he blows up the meteor while he's still there. Like, that's cool. I'm a sucker for a big noble sacrifice at the end, so long as it actually means something. Not like Superman and Batman versus Superman, where he just kind of dies via stupidity. Again, why was Wonder Woman not the one holding the kryptonite spear? Because she's the weapons person. But deaths that actually mean something. Oh, I love when people die. It gives me satisfaction.
What movie did we watch? The Stranger Things 4 season 4 finale. You and I were both like,
not enough people died.
God, and like we were like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I wanted everybody to die.
But it was so sad when Metallica dude died. We're just like, yeah, but we saw that coming a mile away. Yeah. I love me some Steve, and that's why Steve needs to die. I want to bawl my eyes out in sadness, but no, Steve had to go and survive another season.
How dare you?
I love him so much, I want him dead.
How dare you, Stranger Things writers? I wanted you to take my heart and rip it out of my chest and make me eat it. How dare you not do that to me?
A good final last stand. Just it has to be. It has to mean something. It can't just be Leonidas going, "Hey, the arrows did block out the sun. Oh well." I'm trying to think. What I'm trying to think of another big.
I agree too. I think the thing that comes with that trope specifically that does kind of bother me sometimes is when the sacrifice legit doesn't end up being a sacrifice, like, oh, somebody saves the day right at the last second, or like, no, one last stand, we got this. It is one of my favorite but also like questionable things, like such like in the in like Helm's Deep, when they're like, oh man, this is our last stand, and like, yes, they do kind of like go, all right guys, when the sun comes up on the third day, blah blah blah, I will be there, look to the east. And that's like, they at least set it up so that it's not out of nowhere. But like if Gandalf had just randomly shown up with a bunch of writers, and then I was like, all right, guys, we got this, after Aragorn and Theron was like, we got this, dude. No, we will die protecting the women and children. Like, this is our last stand. Absolutely. Go out like kings. And then kind of pulls that rug out from under them a little bit. That always bothers me quite a bit.
So it's funny you bring up Gandalf, because something else that always just rustles my jimmies when it comes to movies, trope that I love, the big cliche overly sappy, inspirational speech. I love a good movie speech, whether it is the president from Independence Day giving the most Murica speech ever, or, Josh's wake up alarm every morning with the Rocky Balboa speech, or Idris Elba in Pacific Rim. Today, we're canceling the apocalypse. I don't care if it is a even halfway decent inspirational speech and it's spoken at slightly higher than a normal speaking voice. I'll be locked in going, yeah, let's do some stuff. Let's run through this wall, man, for no apparent reason. Kool-Aid Man style. Let's do this. Inspirational speeches in movies just get me going, and then the inspiration wears off about 5 minutes later, and I just get back to my dull life.
Jeez, dude. Your life's not dull. You get to hang out with me once a week.
That's true. Or, keep Josh sane.
Yeah. Well, I'm sane. Anyway.
Let's just say before Josh met me, he had hair.
That's close to truth. Because I was starting to lose it back in college anyway. But
you just embraced it, though.
I've embraced it since then, because I don't have a choice. All right, well, let's go with a couple more horror tropes. I love a good visual that is the someone in white covered in blood. It's just cool. There's something so cool about it. I'm actually looking forward to the moment whenever in Rings of Power, when Galadriel's wearing her very light blue dress and she's been murdering orcs and is just covered. And there's something about that. That's very, very cool. And I just love it when movies do that. I don't know why, but I love a good, he's right behind me, isn't he? Kind of joke. But yes, I don't know why. There's something about it. Like I either laugh or I'm like, oh no, or like it's one of those tropes that's very hard to do badly because it's all about, it doesn't work unless you have like some sort of comedic timing or horror timing. God, it's just so much fun. I'm trying to think of a movie example for it that's not like comedy, but like to me it's like, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Oh, that's great. Anytime it's not played off for the embarrassment of a character, I think, because sometimes they're used as like when you talk crap about somebody else in the movie, and maybe you're Harry Styles trying to talk crap about Chris Pines or something.
That's a spits in the face of all logic.
I know, man. It's it's kind of like when you say that I look like Colt. I'm the spitting image of Colt Cabana. Anyway,
no, I said you are the love child of Colt Cabana and MJF.
Okay,
personality wise too.
I hate that. That's the truth. I hate that. But yeah, like I love that he's right. It's right behind me, isn't it? Oh, that's I like that a lot. I don't know why. So, I'm saying that for a lot of these, but just like there's something about that gets me going.
So sticking with the horror train, one of my favorite character types in any movie, even in the worst movie, if you somewhat deliver on this character type, I don't care, I'll buy in. And that is the final girl trope. I don't know what it is. You can have the worst horror movie in the world. If your final girl / your main protagonist is even remotely interesting, or even, I'll be honest, if they even have like 2 or 3 funny lines, I'll be on board with it, and I will root for them to survive. I don't need the final girl to survive every time, but I'm gonna root for them if they're even slightly interesting. Yeah, I even like it when they switch up who the final girl is. That you're like so confident it's gonna be somebody, and then they switch it up and it's somebody else. This comes from me loving Halloween and loving Laurie Strode and Rachel from 4, and then Jamie from 4, 5, and a third of 6. Or hopefully Allison really comes into her own and Halloween ends. Don't know. Tommy Jarvis, that's final dude, I guess, in Friday the 13th Part 6. And
it's even to a certain extent, bro.
There's not a lot of kills in this, but I would make the case that John Cusack is the final person in 1408. That's a different thing. Not really a slasher though, but it's
Yeah, because like he's the
the
only
final person. Whoever the
He's
final
the
person
only
is.
person in 1408, technically. Yeah, but I'm with you. Like, I think Happy Death Day, the first one, she's
Yeah,
gotta be
Tree.
one of my
Stupid name, but great character.
favorite final girls. Fantastic, super smart, constantly trying to figure things out. And that's the thing. I think like a stereotypical final girl who's just the final girl because like the killer's obsessed with her and that's it. To me is very, very, very boring. But imagine that having an interesting character being interesting.
Karen
Oh
Gillan.
man, that's
Karen Gillan and
crazy.
Oculus.
Oh yes, good old
Katie
Karen.
Siegel and Hush.
Dude, you just got all these names, dog.
Dude, I like I said, Final Girls are my thing. I love a good, smart protagonist.
Yeah,
I got
absolutely.
3 more. How many more you got?
Technically 2
Okay, then I'll
because
do one.
yeah.
I love it. And this is more of a trend in more recent movies because, they just keep rehashing movies and just remaking,
No.
rebooting, and recycling movies. But I love it when movies save like the iconic pieces of music for just the right moments. Case in point, I lose my mind every time in Creed 2 when they purposely withhold the Rocky theme for most of the first and second Creed until Creed knocks down Drago for the first time. And he does the, "What's your name?" Creed comes back, bops Drago, knocks him off his feet, bump, 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 because then the music actually means something. Or as much as we don't like Last Jedi, when Kylo turns on Snoke and him and Rey go back to back, and the Force theme is more powerful than it's ever been, and you're just going, yes. Or when Top Gun Maverick uses the original Top Gun music and the theme for that, it chooses its spots incredibly well. Like when he's talking to Iceman, that's really good use of the music there. Or when they're celebrating on the bridge at the end, that's excellent use of music. I just like when they bring back classic themes, but pick the spots and use it
Yeah.
wisely. Using the Spider-Man theme when he gets crushed by the rubble, put that in the jar because I'm referencing that scene. But in that moment, it makes sense because he's becoming Spider-Man there. It just works.
Yeah.
I'm very musically driven when it comes to movies. And
Yeah, man. The example that comes to my mind is when they play the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme when they all become Zord in their little Zoids.
I thought you were gonna say when they use First Flight in How to Train Your Dragon when Powell uses that for the first time.
Okay, yeah, but that is an incredible. That's incredible. You can't deny that that's a great piece of music. It gets me going every single time.
All right, so you got 2 more.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. I love a good red herring. For example,
Like a pup named Scooby Doo.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Which I didn't get that joke as a kid. It's great.
But like in Knives Out, the first one, chocked full of red herrings that make absolute sense of why you would think certain things are going in certain directions, and then using those red herrings against you. Oh, it's one of the things I think I loved the most about Knives Out was that it was constantly like feeding you all this information and you had no choice but to interpret it in a very specific way. And then they were like, all right, cool. At the very end, go, all right, let's show you a different perspective of all that information we just gave you. And then you're like, oh, it was all a red herring. That's crazy, dog. Oh, I love that. I love a good red herring.
They're like, we know you've probably figured it out by now, but have you? It's a twist on a twist.
It's the exact opposite of Christopher Nolan and in the oh geez, Dark Knight Rises, when everyone was like, oh, that's just Talia, right? He's like, no, it's not.
But the actress playing her, Joey King, blatantly said in interviews, because she didn't know any better because she was 9, she said, oh yeah, I'm playing Talia, and everyone's just going, oh, well, who didn't talk to the young actress?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, that's Robin, right? No, it's not. He's not
John
Robin.
Blake. Even though he...
Yeah, okay, whatever you say, Nolan.
Speaking of comic book movies, I think some people might expect this to be the last one I talk about, but I'll talk about it here to segue perfectly. One one of my favorite things in comic book movies of all time is when characters start off with a homemade suit that they make by themselves and then earn their comic book accurate suit by the end of the movie.
Yes.
Aquaman, when he comes out of the waterfall. Oh! Or honestly, look at Iron Man. The first Iron Man is great when he comes out of the cave and he's got the big clunky suit and then he upgrades
Yeah.
to honestly still probably my favorite Iron Man suit of all the movies was
Agreed.
that was it Mark II? Because the Mark 1 was the
Mark two.
cave.
Mark
Mark II,
Mark two. Yeah.
I love the Mark II. MCU really excels at this concept. The first Captain America, he's got that goofy stage costume and then he gets a better costume down the road. Winter Soldier suit is still the best. The only MCU one that I think of that their first costume was better than what we get later is Thor. I liked
Yes.
the helmet and the full chainmail armor, and then kind of stepped down from there. But Spider-Man, oh wow, his suit's actually earned. Or Batman,
Which
both.
is okay. Let's talk about that real quick, because if we had said that at the beginning of this year, you would have been like, why doesn't he earn his cool suits? He just gets them. It's not fair. And now it's like, oh yes, the
Yep.
big arc.
But even then, like Batman, as much as Josh doesn't like the later Nolan movies, he starts off with a jank suit that just looks like
He
he's a
does.
robber. And Battinson is still kind of in that stage of making it. It's not polished yet. The only one that I was just like, you didn't really earn this. It's still a cool suit, but I wish there's more story behind this, was Henry Cavill's Superman. There's
Yes.
no reason story-wise why he wears this. And people will be like, well, it's because he discovered this suit that his father gave him. Like, but he
Did
didn't
he
have anything
discover
beforehand
it?
to differentiate
Yeah.
himself. Like, that's the reason why the soldiers are shooting at him, because there's no distinct difference between him and the other Kryptonians. Like, there's no narrative reason why he's wearing the Superman suit. Now, even Superman and Lois figured that out. Of he's got his fantastic suit that his mom makes him, and then he gets a suit later on. I just love making the way that the characters look means something. Like, there's actual story purpose and symbolism to what the characters are wearing. Because more often than not in comic books, yeah, comic book characters look the way they look because it sells if it looks cooler. But on the flip side, make it more like have it be symbolic for other things, and I just love when that happens. Again, Aquaman I think is still the best example of that, of literally
Yeah.
going from dark, grungy colors and literally old armor to the
Yeah.
armor of a king. I'm like, hey, it's perfect.
It's perfect. So good. Oh my goodness. My last one is kind of cheating. I'm not gonna lie.
Shocker.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not like I do this all the time. It just because it's sorry, I'm trying to make some anyway. My favorite trope that I think that gets me, reels me in every single time, is technically not a trope because it's trope subversion. Trope subversion is my favorite thing that movies do. Taking already known tropes and kind of flipping them on their heads and making us, the audience, think that they know what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's not. I love being surprised in the movies, like, but in a good way, not in the multiverse of madness way. I love being surprised in films. And trope subversion is like the easiest way. When I say easy, like trope subversion is easy. The easiest way to kind of really get to me with that, like having like, you know what? Yeah, like a lot, like let's say like Lori, and traditionally like a final girl would be one of the main people that Michael stalks from the very beginning, and that's not really the case. Like, and she's smart, and up until that point, final girls just kind of lucked into a lot of stuff. So I love a good trope subversion. I love and maybe that kind of echoes a lot of my enemies to lovers kind of sentiment of like, I love something that is on its own pretty cool, but then in tandem with something else and made something interesting narratively that is so much cooler.
So my last one, um, Josh will be on the same page with this. I think in
Yeah.
both movies and wrestling logic for this, and that is the hero that almost turns to the dark side, a
Yes.
la Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, or what Rey should have done, or at some point, or Harry in Half Blood Prince when he almost murders Draco and we almost have a double turn. I love when a hero is presented with the ultimate choice, and the words Dumbledore, between what is right and what is easy, and they still choose to do what's right. One of my all-time favorite wrestling matches, follow me here, people. One of my all-time favorite wrestling matches is NXT R Evolution from, I believe, 2014, when it was Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship. It's either Sami wins the NXT Championship, or he's kicked out of NXT forever because he's had chance after chance after chance, and he just can't get it done. He's like Peyton Manning. He just cannot win when it matters most unless he's carried by somebody else. And so the great thing of this match is neither of them are out and out bad guys in this match, but Sammy's got a little extra intensity. Well, in one point in the match, the ref goes down because it's a wrestling match.
Shenanigans.
A ref will go down by a whistle, or like a puff of air, because refs are puny, apparently. And the title is right next to Sammy, and everyone does their jobs brilliantly of, does Sammy use the title? Does he cheat to finally win? Does he take the shortcut? Does he throw away all the months of hard work that he's built in this story leading up to it? Does he take the short route to finally get to where he is, but he changes who he is as a person? Or does he throw it away and keep going on the path that he does? Eventually, he throws away the title. 1, 2, he kicks out because he almost got distracted and got pinned. But then he finally wins without having to cheat. I love when a character gets so close to breaking who they are. I think it'd be cooler if, I know some people have talked about Zack Snyder's Superman, of he'll be mind controlled by Darkseid, whatever else. I think it'd be more interesting if he gets this close to being controlled by Darkseid, and then at the very last minute doesn't, like, flips that switch of just,
that's
like,
way more interesting.
It's that constant struggle because being good in the world is not an easy thing, and so it's that constant temptation that everybody will deal with, whether in a variety of different aspects. Again, my favorite moment in all of Star Wars is the half light, half dark in Return of the Jedi when Luke's hiding, because it perfectly reflects his character of, this is what he's been building towards. Does he disown everything he's about to basically to save his father? Does he destroy his father? I just love inner turmoil in characters. And do you stick with what is right, or do you stick with what is easy?
Yeah, that's a fantastic match. Isn't that the aftermath of that match is when Kevin turns on Sammy, isn't it?
Kevin debuted earlier that night and powerbombed him onto the apron.
Oh, what a fantastic. That was such a good show that night. Oh my goodness. Rest in peace, NXT.
Oh no, it's coming back, man.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
No, did you see last week? Last week, Shawn Michaels did a video package that's just like, we've come a long way with NXT, and they dissolved away NXT 2.0, and it went back to the gold and orange, to the gold and white, and I'm going,
thank God. Okay.
Oh, so yeah, Vince is really gone. I'm going,
yeah.
And everyone else is just going, what on earth are you talking about? Yeah, the two matches I watch most often are the NXT R Evolution match with Sami and Neville, and the NXT TakeOver match between Sami and Nakamura, a debuting Nakamura. And
yes.
it hurts your jaw just watching it because they're beating the ever-living daylights out of each other.
Well, that one's really good. The one-off with AJ and Finn, I think it was like SummerSlam or something like that.
No, it was like a one-off because like everybody got sick. Like Bray got sick, Roman got sick.
it was a weird day.
But hey, if you want to know our favorite WWE matches, that's a whole separate episode.
We really could.
No, we have done that episode before.
We have?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow.
Josh had a lot of NXT women's matches.
I do have some like legitimate favorites though, because there are some really, really good matches.
And some people that almost turned to the dark side but didn't.
I hate you. Okay, just wrap us up. Oh my gosh.
Well, what do you guys think? What are some of your all-time favorite things that, if they happen in a movie, you're absolutely more likely to get on board with the movie? Let us know in the comments below. Always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube at Uncharted Media. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.